Michael Nunan.
Anthony Kuzub.
Good to see you at the Expo. This is
Expo 25.
Expo 25. Fantastic. Were you at the last Expo? You hosted the last Expo, I think. Or did you do post-production?
The State of the Sound, right?
State of the Sound.
I was
okay.
I was the chairman.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you for being a part of our Toronto audio community. It's fantastic to have you here.
I'm pleased to be here.
You know, I was paying very close attention during your keynote, and you know, I was wondering, like, what does come after next? Like, what is the thing? Why are we doing this? And what's after next?
Look, just in general, I think if the complaint of the last number of years is, oh, woe is me, look what's happened to the media business, everything's become commoditized, journalism's being commoditized, like, you know, it's all, woe is me, the sky, the sky's falling. Since that seems to be the way things normally are, that would tend to lead to this sort of pessimistic understanding of what our future prospects might be.
Okay.
Now, maybe not for you and I directly, because we're close enough to the finish line that we know we got to keep the music playing for a few years, but it's not like we're starting our career and having to worry about, are we going to have a gig for the next 40 years?
Right.
So what comes after next is literally, never mind the next thing that's been on somebody's roadmap for 3 years, never mind, like, what happens when we get over this weird concern about the very next thing and start looking way out into the future and making some educated guesses based on everything we can see, so that we can then try to reverse engineer our way back and find out whether our current trajectory forward is lining up with where we think we're going to end up, and we're not just blindly following an upgrade path.
When you say blindly following an upgrade path, are we stuck with just looking for the next best thing? Are we lifting and shifting our old workflows into new workflows? Are we to expect like a revolution when it comes to this technology that we're constantly chasing?
I think in media space, revolution is not too strong a term.
Okay.
Now, in the context of the business and concern of the Audio Engineering Society and audio only as a domain, no, I don't think it's going to maybe be quite, I don't think revolutionary is maybe the right word to use.
Okay.
Because I think we're still going to recognize it. I think we're still going to recognize audio in the future as being audio. It might be higher fidelity, there might be more loudspeakers, it might be something, but we're still going to recognize it as moving air that makes people feel something.
Okay.
And media space and sound plus image, sound plus something else is a big part of the audio universe. And it's how, as you well know, it's how I've spent my career largely in television.
Right.
Also an anachronistic term now. Like, what the heck is television? What is broadcasting?
Yeah.
Nobody's broadcasting anymore. Even the people who are broadcasting don't even care that they are. And most, including your former employer, has committed to stop broadcasting by a certain date, meaning terrestrial, over the air.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so in media space, I think it is going to be revolutionary, because I think the forms that media will take as amplified and distorted by all of these onrushing technologies are going to create stuff that we couldn't even possibly recognize today.
Our media started as content creators, you know, like it was live, like you're a content creator. Do you think we'll ever revert back to live content creation? Or are we going to be stuck in this, it's not live, it's fresh, it's happened today, not happening right now type of media mentality?
Oh, hey, look, I think it's entirely reasonable to expect that in not too many years, almost the only thing that will be actually live is sports.
Okay.
Almost. And there will be other things, of course, great occasions of state, or great events of import to the society or to a community. Yes, some things will always be live, but I mean, sports will be the big thing, and most everything else will be topical at best.
Okay.
But that's also going to happen and be true in an era where suddenly content will exist that is being generated on demand. Not just played out to you on demand, but literally being created at the moment that you decide you want to watch it. Because until you are an actual target, you, Anthony, are an actual person with with a trail of preferences and habits, and right
Yeah.
until you are the one asking to see something, the system doesn't know what to build for you and how to present it, because it isn't going to be that broadcasting model of one thing pushed out to many.
Yeah.
It's going to be almost a point to point.
Point to point.
Every iteration of the piece of content might be bespoke.
So
It's going to change everything about communal
yeah, I was gonna get to
experiences.
that. We used to sit around the TV as family, and we used to share the media together. Do you think that will be a thing of the future, or do you think that,
will,
like you
but
say,
it's gonna change.
It's going to change. There's no community events that people get to.
There will be. People get so freaked out when I start saying things like this, because they imagine that I'm saying all artists and all creativity must follow the new paradigm.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There will always be artists who say, okay,
Yeah.
the audience shall see the film I choose for them to see.
Right.
I will create a passive, and in future I think they'll be called that.
Yeah.
Now all of our media is passive, but I think there will be filmmakers and authors and cinematographers and musicians and audio producers and who decide, no. It's great. Something should be reactive, something should be interactive, no, but not this. This is my opus magnus.
Right.
I'm going to, now you can either choose to watch the film or not, but okay, we're always going to have all those forms. We're not throwing things, we're throwing out some technology, we're throwing out some crappy workflow, we're throwing out a ton of business models,
Okay.
but we're not throwing out the fact that what is inelastic is people's interest in flopping down on the couch at the end of the day and just being amused or distracted or entertained or informed. They don't, you're always going to want that at some point. So I'm not saying this is the death of all of the forms we know.
Right.
It's the death of the business model that made them possible and commercially viable and made people a lot of money. And the new forms are not going to establish themselves until this technical shakeout makes a few things possible, I think.
Do you think that the advertising-based model of television will survive?
No,
What?
it's done.
It's done? It's dead?
So done.
Okay. What about in the future for web streams, or like you say, personalized, like the first thing they're going to think about for this personalized point-to-point contact will be the ads that are targeted towards you and your family. Do you think that AI, machine learning type of initiative will be the future of presentation?
In some genres, in some markets, at some price points for some people. I mentioned as in passing in the keynote that I readily acknowledge that in the far future it may be that most media content is machine made. There's no human involved,
Right.
except for the person who chooses to consume it and provides all of those actionable data points for the machine to go, oh, here's what I'll give him. Okay, that might be true. Just the way that much of the things we use every day that are commodities have been machine made today.
Right.
But there's still a value for handmade textiles. There's still a value for analog photochemical photography. There's still a value for, there will still be human-made content. Maybe it's going to be expensive. It's certainly going to be eccentric. Maybe it's going to be rare. But it's not going to change the human equation. It's just going to mean that in this post-media world where everything's got a moving picture on it.
Right.
I haven't begun to start talking about the nuttier things that I imagine for the future, because I'm still wanting to get everyone to understand that there's this new actionable foundation that all media in the future is going to be built on top of.
When it comes to the creation of synthetic content, are you predicting, are you encouraging people in this space? Like, what kind of experiments do you think our members would benefit from when it comes to, exploring these, future synthetic content?
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Don't be precious about anything.
Okay.
Not if you pretend that you want to still be able to identify as a professional in the future,
Okay.
and not just an expert in antiquarian media technologies.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think just the same way that I think you should constantly be learning. Luckily, this is a society that very much manifests that
Totally.
tradition. But yeah, endless experimentation. And just because you tried it with GPT this week doesn't mean you don't need to retry the experiment next week, because it might be a new model. Or it might, I think especially since the average person here is legitimately nervous or anxious at minimum about what all of this might mean for their future prospects in terms of being able to make a living or to monetize their art. It's a slightly different consideration, if I'm being honest, even though it could be about food on the table. I think we all need to just be endlessly experimenting, finding out what doesn't work, feeding that back into the system, going, right, this clearly didn't work, but wow, that was really interesting. I never even thought about trying that. Oh, what did you say? Oh, I'm going to try that and combine this with, it's that adjacent possible that I based the whole keynote on. Good.
Michael, you know, I know you're an avid keyboard player. You're a concert pianist. You have I imagine a Dolby Atmos organ, pipe organ set up. When it comes to the importance of synthetic content, like it's not a new thing in audio. No. It's not it's synthetic instruments have been around.
We even have a name for it.
We even have a name. I was getting there. When it comes down to it, like it's oh man, wub 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 wub. I'm more of about the wub wubs. When it comes down to it, like, should we be shocked that this has taken the next level when it comes to creating songs and creating music?
No, we should absolutely not be.
So why is there such a animosity? Why is there so much anxiety? Why is it specifically when it comes to music and art that we have such pushback to these
because we're all career taxi cab drivers and we're pissed off that Waymo is coming.
Okay. All right.
It's a knee-jerk.
Yeah. We're still in the state of shock.
We're totally in a state of shock. And listen, we can't be the people who fall into that trap of never let progress stand in the way of tradition.
Yeah.
Like, we can't be those people. We've seen it kill businesses. We saw it kill Kodak. We've seen it kill Rogers Video, the rental video store. We saw it kill, well, they were going to get dead anyways. BlackBerry, like, or RIM, or whatever. Right? Yeah. We've seen it again and again and again. I cut my teeth in the Toronto chapter of the AES learning at the feet of 𝐬𝐃𝐏𝐿, who started his career by hand building consoles for guys who needed them, because back in that days, audio engineers were actual engineers and they actually built the shit because it wasn't consumer electronics. They weren't SKUs that you could order up with a purchase order. Okay, we need to desperately continue that grand tradition, and we need to do it. We have to approach reality on reality's sakes, for God damn it. Like, nobody's uninventing AI. It's not going back in the box.
I get it. So I once heard that tradition is peer pressure from dead people.
Yes. Yes, 100%. It's 100% peer pressure from dead people.
When it comes to the tradition, I'm hearing from you that the tradition is constantly exploring new things and diving into the things that we can't get and the things that we don't have access to. What in the audio world or in the audio space that have been democratized by these recent developments? What has come out of this that really should be paid attention to? Because it was once a pipe dream someplace, but now it's like you're 5 keystrokes away from it.
Listen, once you've done something, once you bring in pizza 5 days in a row for your employees, they expect pizza at lunch.
Okay.
We habituate really quickly to things as humans.
Gotcha.
We've entirely overlooked, and there was not one mention today, nor do I expect there to be, but there was no mention of the fact that we should all just be on our knees saying prayers of thanks to the audio gods for how fucking amazing it is to live right now. Yeah. I've got more audio mangling ability in a cheap laptop in my bag over there than I had in the first 3 studios I worked in put together.
Yes.
We can look at the fact that we can send things and share things and collaborate it and do stuff at home or on the train in the way in the work in the morning that would have been science fiction even a few years ago. We don't celebrate that enough. We don't recognize how astonishing it is, pardon my French, that we can do incredible things for almost no money, and we can do them almost immediately, and we say faster, cheaper, better. Why does this look, we're almost actually making things faster, cheaper, and better. And then someone comes along and says, but AI is going to eat your lunch, and we all throw up the...
Okay, I got you. And, you know, like, so with these efficiencies we've been promised, why did we make, you know, instead of, you know, if we're 4 times better at this, it makes it 4 times faster for us. Why aren't we creating 16 times the content? Why did we end up, well, are we creating 16 times, or are we creating the same amount of content with less people?
Look, when avid media composers replaced videotape editing, and when I was still a tape editor, and in the old days, I would have an 8-hour shift in a big AB roll edit suite to cut a 7-minute feature story for Daily Planet that night on Discovery Channel. Full day of work to cut a 7-minute story. And then nonlinear editing came along, and everyone was like, oh, it's so fast, and you're going to be able to do the work in half the time. And of course, lots of editors immediately lost their shit, especially the union guys, and went, oh, there's no way I'm doing twice as much work in one day. Okay, what actually happened was that the piece was cut by 11:30 in the morning. We went for lunch. We'd have a nice casual lunch. We'd come back, and we'd spend the afternoon making the story better. We never ever cut 2 stories in one day, but we started turning out much better content, because back in the day, it was all we could do to complete the story in that 8-hour shift, and just barely, because screwing up a big multi-machine roll with pre-read and DVE moves and stuff there were consequences to making mistakes, and you can't just go undo. Okay, so we're working at notwithstanding the fact that automation and technology improvements have been used as an excuse in broadcast to optimize the workflow and the workforce. But that's also because they're playing a game of fin de siècle. They're trying to run out the clock on the end of an era. They're already working inside of a dead business model. Revenue is shrinking. It's a zero, like all the things we know, but the new normal hasn't reasserted itself. Okay, so apart from the broadcast business only, look at what this technology has done for the rest of the world. How many minutes of content are added to YouTube every day? I don't know, but it's an astonishing number. And all of those other places around the world aren't making less content. Maybe they're not making more, but as a species, we're approaching a point where, and someday you might read about it in something I'm writing. But there's a thing called a tetration, which is an exponent of exponents. And I think we're headed to where everyone says the exponential growth of media. Okay, well, I think it's hyperbole. But even if you go in for it, then I think what we're approaching is sort of a tetration of media, where suddenly, because every surface in the knowable world, the metaverse really is our real world and our data worlds colliding. And I think the appearance of things like persistent 60OF XR, living in a fully annotated environment, I think, look, I mean, we've got privacy concerns and data centricity concerns. The concerns of the audio elite don't amount to a hill of noisy beans when you consider just this onslaught of colossal forces that are going to shape not just media but the society. So I think we're good, because I think we did our change. We've already pivoted to IP. We've already, we're a bunch of smart, the word engineer is right in our title. I like our chances, Anthony.
Good. Michael, I really appreciate your points of view on this.
That's a lot of words. Sorry, I'm just...
No, it's good. And I do look forward to your book whenever it comes out in, the next couple of years. For me, it's a pleasure to have you keynote this event.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the next time we have you do the same thing.
Yes, I look forward to it too.
I really appreciate it, Michael.
Thanks
Thank you so much.